Heading this way at high speed, what happens when road rage strikes at 150 miles an hour? And the home videos that prove you don't have to be a pro to have a go. We know that sports like rugby, football, boxing and ice hockey are prone to having their less sporting moments. But as we've already seen, if there's a trophy on offer, even crown green bowling could descend into an orgy of violence. But somehow it would still be crown green bowling. You may think that some sports are above it all, but you'd be very wrong. Cycling's a very sensible sport. Well, as sensible as you can expect with all the skin-tight shorts and freshly buffed helmets. The only time things go wrong is if there's a pile-up. This guy knows who's to blame and goes looking for him. But seriously, call that a punch? My daughter Natalie, who's only 12, could do better than that. So like two rutting stags, they lock horns, and the crowd just laugh. OK, watch the wimp in white. Mr. Yellow wants the whole road to himself, and he's going to get it. And after the race, he's still got enough energy to lamp Mr. White again. But to be fair, look at him. He's got the kind of face that you get tired of slapping. Horse racing may be the sport of kings, but in every pack there's got to be a joker. And here he is, a vision in pink. They say the bigger you are, the harder you fall, so when jockeys fall, they probably don't feel a thing. Now we're talking. Nothing beats a fight between team mascots. If you choose to dress up like a plonker, you deserve a slap, so it saves all of us the effort if they do it themselves. This really should be a televised sport, don't you think? I'd pay good money to see Barney the dinosaur go head-to-head with Tinky Winky, to the death. And here comes the beer-bellied Halifax fox against the quite frankly less than terrifying Rochdale dragon. I'd like to see fox hunters try their luck against this boy after he's had a few speckled hens. Puff the tragic dragon 0, Freddy the fox 1. Check out this gesture. After all of that, there's still one sport where the competitors rarely end up throwing punches. Motorsport. For starters, it's kind of difficult to nut someone when you're travelling at 150 miles an hour. Secondly, racing drivers aren't trained to fight. If they were, they'd be sponsored by Don King, not Super Kings. But as you'll see, getting upset behind the wheel can lead to instant track rage. Crashing at high speed is dangerous, even if you're trained for it. But emotions still run high. So high, in fact, that this driver, whose IQ can only be measured in revs per minute, has forgotten it's completely pointless trying to knock someone out who's wearing a crash helmet. And here's another driver whose brain isn't in gear after a crash. The commentator's also got a degree in stating the obvious.
Tony is not happy at the moment.
Tony's not happy at the moment.
Tony climbs out of the car.
Oh, Tony climbs out of the car. Tony obviously knows what goes around comes around. Unfortunately, it keeps going round. Well done, Braindead.
And there is trouble.
And from sunny USA to the glamorous destination of Ipswich on a wet afternoon. Oval car racing. It doesn't get any better than this. No, really, it doesn't. World champion Pete Winston in the silver and yellow helmet takes on all comers in this wet weather welterweight challenge in soaking wet Suffolk. Go on, Pete.
Off there, and the race being brought to a halt while order is restored. Now that's most unusual in the super rod class, and there's more joining in.
And then some of the spectators decide to wade in, literally.
Race maidens, and obviously filled by something or other. And the officials at the moment actually making very little effort to try and stop this trouble. And though
car racing and mud wrestling on one ticket. What a day out! Book your tickets now. When it comes to road rage, it's four wheels good, two wheels better, and you don't get much better than Speedway. It's like motorbike racing, only more so. You're doing incredible speeds on a track that seems to be covered in Vaseline, mud and sand. Your tyres are slipping about all over the place, and most of the time your head is about 2 inches from the ground. So the last thing you need is some lunatic making it worse.
James in second place, Stefan Dano is trying his hardest.
We all know how annoying it is when you're cut up by another vehicle, but when they slam you into a wall, well, that's just infuriating. And have you noticed it's always someone much harder than you?
Scottish boxing champion.
Stefan Dano squares up to James Greaves. Bad move. Greaves is a former boxer. Hook him, Dano. I don't think so.
And mechanics, they're all coming out to split the riders up.
This is a Speedway classic. Craig Boyce of Australia and Thomas Golob of Poland in the 1995 British Grand Prix. Like a nun whose skirt doesn't fit, Golob had a really annoying habit. Technically in Speedway, it's known as cheating. Boyce had had enough, and Golob had it coming.
Yeah, that was awful, really. I mean, Golob's done it again, hasn't he? The very last Grand Prix race of this year that he was competing in, he has to go and take Craig Boyce off the bike completely.
Oh, look at this! Craig Boyce is surely the cruiserweight champion of Australia. He has laid out Thomas Golob, and I think we said that somebody sooner or later would land one on Thomas Golob. And that was the best right hook they've seen in East London.
I don't agree with what he did, and I never will, I guess, and at least I had the decency to hit Thomas with his helmet on. I don't regret doing it for 1 minute.
Rumble between Boyce and Golob was the biggest drama ever to hit Speedway until an incident on England's south coast in 1999. Yes, the high-octane destination of Eastbourne was the setting for a moment of madness that's now entered sporting folklore. Riders Martin Dugard and Stefan Andersson have been friends for years, but on this night, the former teammates were in direct opposition. Andersson's new team, Kings Lynn, desperately needed championship points, but a crash and a punch would guarantee that it all ended in tears.
Professional Speedway is modern-day chariot racing. Riders risk their lives on bikes that go from 0 to 60 in less than 3 seconds without any brakes. So these blokes have to be a bit unhinged even before they get on their bikes. With all that testosterone flying around, tempers are bound to fray, but this one act of madness rocked the Speedway world and ruined a 6-year friendship.
I think the elastic band just snapped and it was a silly thing to do, but I don't really remember doing it.
I've been riding with him for 5 years, and so it's a shame actually. Things like this shouldn't happen really when you're really good friends.
Martin Dugard is the guy with the tasty right hook. He's from a Speedway dynasty, sports answer to the Colbys. 7 of the family have raced, but Martin's the best of them, a regular England international. That's Speedway, by the way, not boxing. Stefan Andersson was used to punch-ups when he played ice hockey, but he thought he'd left fighting behind when he took up Speedway, eventually becoming Scandinavian champion. Two motormates first locked wheels while racing in Sweden in 1990. When Stefan came to England, Martin took him under his wing. They raced together, lived together, and spent long hours tinkering with their bikes. Nice.
Well, he worked for my dad's company for 4 years while he lived in Brighton. Yeah, I would say we was friendly. We played squash, went out.
In 1999, Andersson went on loan to Kings Lynn, but on September the 2nd, they were reunited at Eastbourne. The two friends were going head-to-head. The fateful race, Dugard's on the outside in the red helmet, Andersson's in gate 3 in virginal white. Kings Lynn are in with a shout for the title, the friendship's off, the race is on.
Now Kelvin Tatum is there.
And from the start, Dugard and Andersson are locked together.
But what a battle it's... Oh! Dugard has gone down! Dugard's done a somersault. Anything could have happened here. Our referee is stopping that.
I know Martin thinks that it was my fault, and I think it was his fault. I think it was just a racing accident, you know. Sometimes when you hit each other, sometimes you just slid off, but this time he hooked up on my back wheel somehow, and unfortunately he fell off quite hard.
First on the scene is Martin's father, Bob Dugard, who, having checked the bike's okay, stomps off to find Stefan.
Here we go, there's Bob Dugard. It looks as though there's a bit of aggravation going on here with Bob. Bob seems to think that Stefan Andersson was at fault, so Bob's already made his mind up on this one.
I got up and walked back towards the pits, but you don't realise how much pain you're in because the adrenaline is flowing.
Having cracked his pelvis in the crash, Martin Dugard is planning on breaking some more bones.
I knew he was going to come up to me and because obviously he fell off pretty hard. I knew he was going to maybe push me a little bit or say some nasty word or whatever, I don't know. But so I got up and was going to say to him, Marty, I'm sorry what happened, and I didn't have time to say it.
Oh, I think that just said what it needed to say.
Yeah, there's a fight on the pitch now. That's, you know, it's getting messy now. There's no need for it.
There is absolutely no need for that, I don't think, but there it is. We have a rider down, and Martin Dugard showing how he felt about that.
I can't remember really what happened. All I can think of is that I hit Stefan, and there's no reason why I should have done. He didn't deserve it, and I was totally in the wrong for doing it.
When he hit me, I lost my balance a little bit and fell backwards, and I hit something really hard on the ground with my head. So straight after that, I was unconscious, and I can't really remember anything after that.
In 30 years, the sport's longest-serving reporter had never seen anything like it.
I think it shocked people and it stunned people what Martin did, because they were friends, they were very close friends, and the fact that he did it when Stefan Andersson was totally unprotected and totally unprepared for it.
Injuries kept Andersson out for a month, while Dugard landed a mere £250 on-the-spot fine. Everyone expected him to be banned, but a loophole in the rules means he's back, which was a turn-up for the mashed Swede.
Martin's got off quite lightly, to be honest. A thing like this, if they would have been in Sweden, I think the guy would have been banned at least 1 year from Speedway.
As a result, the sport's governing body has been forced to rewrite the rulebook.
With increased fines and, more importantly, the risk of losing 8 meetings and 8 checks, they may actually think twice before embarking upon the actions that Martin embarked upon.
It's not premeditated, and I'm sure the fact that they could be suspended won't enter their mind when they cock their right fist and follow through with a punch.
So Dugard's back on his bike, but the fans don't like it. He's apologised for the attack, but there's still a rift that might never be healed.
I can say this, I don't think we're going to be the same friendship that we had before, and I just wish him well, and I hope he's not going to do it again.
Whether he's your friend or not your friend, you don't need to lash out the way I did. And with that, I lost a friendship in Stefan, and I lost a lot of people that had any respect for me.
So there it is. A moment on the lips means a lifetime in the pits. We've seen professional athletes attacking in every field, but they're not alone. Come on, admit it. You've been at it too. Yes, because now it's time for when amateurs attack. All over the country, budding Vinnie Joneses, Herbie Hydes and Jim Everetts are honing their art and putting it down on home video. And just like the pros, most of you have been having a go at referees. Move over, Lisa Riley, because this is You've Been Brained.
This ref's up and under. And again. Oh. And this one's over and out. Now it's the ref's revenge. But typical, isn't it? Having a go at people half his size. I'd like to see you try this on Vinnie Jones, mate. Now, here's one way of tackling your opponent. And here's another. Who said girls were soft? And we're even teaching our animals to attack. Attacking athletes are getting younger, but at least they're sporting when they lose. Sort of.
Well, that's it for another long jump into the murky world of when athletes attack. We've seen lessons in how not to be a sportsman, and we've proved once again that it's not the winning, it's the taking apart that counts. Good night, everyone.
He says, hit me with your message, click, click, click.